Hi, everyone. Welcome. Good afternoon, or maybe it's still morning for you, or maybe it's nighttime. We are just glad that you are here. We'll get started in just a few minutes. I have a couple items I got to run through. Number one, we would like to remind everyone of our commitment to maintaining a safe and accountable space. If you experience issues and need assistance, please reach out to me by sending a direct message found at the top right corner of the event. To walk you through the tools in this session, I'd like to draw your attention to the vertical bar featuring several icons on the right side of your screen. If your event feed is open, it's going to be hiding this vertical bar, so please close the event feed by clicking on the X in the upper right-hand corner of the event feed box. Once you've closed this event feed, you'll be able to see the vertical bar with these icons. You'll see speech squares. That's the chat box for this session. The Q&A icon, which we ask that you please use this just to ask the presenters questions. You can vote for questions in this and it will bump it up in priority. So if you in particular see someone's question you want the answer to, upvote it. And then there's an icon of people that's indicating the participants in the session. And then you'll see an icon that looks like some paper stacked together. And these are the resources with the slide deck for this session. And for us to keep up with the questions, please use that Q&A icon as opposed to the chat. But share your love, your thoughts, and all of that in the chat. And if at any time during the session you need to step away, take a break, debrief or anything, please feel free to do so. Our wellness room is open. That's going to be at the top menu bar when you go back to the homepage. So for now, it is my pleasure to introduce our speakers for this session. We have Maria Ramos. Maria joined Voices for Georgia's Children in July 2019, overseeing initiatives like the Free Your Fields Mental Health Awareness Campaign and Children's Mental Health Day at the Capitol. Previously, she served as project manager at NAMI, Georgia, and completed 2 years of AmeriCorps service, leading a regional initiative providing free vision screenings to children. With a Bachelor of Arts in Psychology from the University of Montevallo, Maria is passionate about improving children's lives and enjoys spending her free time immersed in the arts, attending musicals, concerts, and book club meetings. And then we also have Sharon Cash, Vox ATL's executive director. She is a creative at heart, passionate about investing in her community through service. With more than 10 years of experience in communications and nonprofit management, she incorporates her personal values of integrity, servant leadership, and creativity into her work. Sharon earned her bachelor's in communications at The Ohio State University and a master's of public administration from Georgia State University. She is passionate about equitable education access, entrepreneurship, and civic engagement. And to round us off, we have Chiron. Chiron X is a young alum of Vox ATL and a near-peer facilitator who has been training youth and adults with Vox ATL since graduating from Banneker High School in Fulton County, Georgia in 2020, including a facilitation training series with Youth Indicator Georgia and a photography and social justice series with Adjudicated Youth. He has co-facilitated many sessions with Vox ATL at state and national conferences, including GAA, SYD, and the National After School Association. He has also served as a young adult staff member at Georgia Teen Institute for the last 2 years, and he's a photographer and a graphic design student. So I am so pleased to welcome these presenters, and I'm going to pass it off to Chiron.
You're muted.
Sorry, I double tapped it and I remuted myself. So again, hi y'all, my name is Chiron. I'm 22 and I use he, they pronouns. I am a youth development professional and a Vox alum. And today we're going to get to talk about youth and mental health. And on the screen is going to be everything that we're going to go over today. So we're going to get the chance to hear from young folks about what they need regarding mental health, we'll do an icebreaker activity. We'll go over ground rules and group agreements and what they mean for our spaces and possibly what they could mean for your spaces. And then we'll go through a we'll go through a game. We'll play a little game to hear a bit about youth mental health today. And then we will close out with some resource sharing. So our icebreaker today is what Jeopardy category could you sweep? Please leave your answers in the chat. And as we wait for some answers to come into the chat, we're going to pull back the curtain a little bit. So icebreakers are something that we do at Vox as a way to level set between adults and youth. It is also a low stakes way to get youth involved in creating the agendas that we make for all of our programming. Of course, we want them. Oh, we see green coffee, 80s news. Sorry, I do it straight to the answers. That is amazing. So when we do icebreakers, we do name, age, pronoun, and the answer. So Chiron, 22, he, they, and it would probably be tea, like all the ways to drink tea, the way that someone said about coffee. Love that. And I'll pass it to Sharon to also answer out loud.
Yeah, thanks, Chiron. My name is Sharon Cash, she, her, 31, and executive director of Vox. And I would say maybe Grey's Anatomy or The Office type trivia. I would sweep that. Maria?
Hi, everyone. My name is Maria Ramos. I'm a senior program specialist at Voices for Georgia's Children. Happy to be here today. I use she, her pronouns. I don't know if I mentioned that. And mine would probably be like early 2000s pop punk. I like to consider myself an elder emo. So if anyone else is with me, please put that in the chat. I'm loving the answers. Thank you.
Oh my goodness. No, so we're going to call out some of the answers that I see and love. Real quick, I love the best places to nap. That's actually one of my favorite answers in here. Sports trivia. Kalisa Fitzpatrick said ways to drink coffee. I see you. I see you. Rap and hip hop. Oh my goodness. No, these are fantastic. Thank you guys so much for answering the question. So now I'm going to pass it over to our executive director to tell us a little bit more about Vox ATL.
Thanks, Chiron. So hi, everyone. My name is Sharon Cash, and I am the executive director of Vox ATL. We are a youth development nonprofit based in Atlanta, Georgia, and we provide free after-school and summer programming to teens ages 13 to 19. Since 1993, we have been amplifying youth voices through journalism and uncensored self-expression. And as a system of care ally and grantee partner, we introduce healthy coping strategies and provide self-expression opportunities in an effort to reduce stigma and around mental health. So I will go ahead and pass it to my colleague Maria to introduce her work with Voices for Georgia's Children and also the Free Your Fields campaign. Great to be here.
Thank you, Sharon. Yes, so hi everyone again. So Voices for Georgia's Children, we are based in Atlanta, Georgia as well, but we're a statewide research, policy, and advocacy organization. And we are a whole child organization, which means that we look at various issue areas that affect children and youth well-being, as well as their families. And so part of that portfolio of work focuses on behavioral health, which we think is a critical piece of a young person's development and well-being. And so because that's a piece of our work, back in 2020, we partnered with the state agency in Georgia for mental health. They're called the Georgia Department of Behavioral Health and Developmental Disabilities, or DBHDD. And we created what's called Free Your Feels. So Free Your Feels is a youth mental health awareness campaign. We collaborate on this campaign with community partners like Vox ATL and Silence the Shame to lead this effort to really destigmatize freeing your feelings, whatever they may look like. So our three guiding principles are speak, listen, and connect. So we want to encourage young people to speak out fearlessly about what they're feeling, encourage adults and young peers to check in with each other and listen without judgment, and then connect everyone to resources that already exist for further guidance or help. So we really focus on prevention and increasing mental health education and literacy through freeing feelings. And if you notice, the logo here is very bright and colorful, and that was really intentional. When we created this campaign, we got feedback and brought young people into that development and conceptualization process. And one of the main things they said was, we don't want another dark and drab mental health campaign. We want something that's bright and inviting and fun. And that's what mental health should be. It's okay to talk about it. It's okay to free your feelings, even if they're bad feelings or happy feelings. So we're just really proud to serve as the adult allies in this work and moving it forward along with Vox ATL. And I'll pass it back to you, Chiron.
Awesome. So something that we love to do in our spaces every time that we meet, no matter the level that we're on, is we like to set ground rules for the group that is meeting. Ground rules for us are a way to make sure that everyone in this space is able to show up and feel heard and seen and able to ask for what they need. And because the ground rules are group agreements, we all have to agree on them. We have conversations about them, and they are also a living, breathing document. If you guys have ground rules in your spaces, please feel free to drop some in the chat so that way we can call some out. But a few that we love to live by are the Vegas rule or the Vegas 2.0 rule. So it's what's said here stays here, but what's learned here leaves here. This is a trauma-informed practice of making sure that we are keeping intentional spaces, but also making sure that our learning is moving with us throughout the time that we spend together without, taking people's personal information outside of the space. Another one is don't yuck my yum. Basically, just making sure that we live up to honoring the things that other people enjoy without insulting them. The Nirvana rule, which is pretty new to me, but come as you are, seems really self-explanatory, but don't feel any pressure to show up any particular way other than as you are. The Aretha rule, respect. That's one that has had many a name change throughout the years that I've been at Vox, but I really like that it is called the Aretha rule, simply for the reference of it all. I'm going to check the chat real quick. Take space and make space. Amazing. Thank you so much. Is that like, oh, sorry. I was just going to ask, and you can feel free to answer this in the chat. Is take space and make space kind of like make sure that you are speaking up, but also like recognize when you need to step back? Feel free to answer that any way you want. But yes, that is what ground rules are for us. And those are some of awesome. Those are some of the ones that we tend to abide by.
Awesome. Yes, thank y'all. So the reason why we did this work, which we are about to detail in this presentation, is so that we can really center youth voice and amplify youth voice. So often young people are the subject of research projects, but it's rare that they get to be part of the research process itself and be the researchers. So we're really appreciative of Vox ATL for making space for that community research and putting young people at the table in their after school space and making sure that that's a key piece of their work. We also want to elevate and center youth voice in every piece of the process. So kind of as I was mentioning with the development of Free Your Feels, we want to include them from the conception, from the very beginning to the very end when it comes to implementing a program or advocating for certain policies. We want young people to inform what those policies need to be. And so we approached this, Voices for Georgia's Children and Vox ATL approached it with these things in mind. So I'm going to detail some focus groups that we hosted last year. And then Vox ATL is going to detail the teen survey. And we have a really fun interactive game to reveal those results. So the Free Your Feels focus groups, we held 3 of them in fall of 2023. 2 were virtual, 1 was in person, and they were an hour and a half long. And we had a diverse breakdown. You can see there at the bottom, participants ranging in race, ethnicity, location throughout Georgia, and gender. And some key themes that came out of these focus groups. So we were seeking to understand where young people are getting their mental health resources, if they're resonating with them, and how we can improve how we're communicating with young people. So you can see positive effects of peer support really rose to the top as a key theme. And so that could be anything formal, like peer-to-peer groups in school settings, or informal, just checking in with your friends and your peers. In addition to that, the significance of having relationships with trusted adults also rose to the top as a key theme. So a lot of young people really voiced the importance of having either a teacher, a parent, a grandparent, any adult in their lives who they can go to with candid, open conversations without fear of judgment or retaliation. And then attitudes and stigma around mental health, that also rose to the top. That stigma is still very much real in certain communities. And then the importance of effective communication strategies. So all of this research, the focus groups, the teen survey, we want to utilize that to inform and improve how we're communicating with young people. And then the digital tools here at the bottom, this might be a little bit of foreshadowing for our Family Feud game that we're going to play in a minute. So pay attention to these results. So we asked young people in our focus groups, where are they at online and where are they getting their mental health resources? So you can see the breakdown here. Instagram is a huge place where young people are getting mental health information and education, as well as TikTok, Snapchat, and other social media platforms. And these focus groups really complemented the Vox ATL annual teen survey, which I will pass over to Vox to detail. Oh, but before I do that, these quotes came out of not only the focus group, but the teen survey as well. So the first one here, conversations and little check-ins here and there, doesn't have to be formal or anything of that nature. I think little check-ins, conversation, things of that sort can help out a lot. So that was from a focus group participant who was 15 years old. And this was talking about the importance of those check-ins and just talking and connecting. And then a teen survey respondent said, when asked why they think themselves or their peers are not talking to each other, why stigma may exist, they don't want to open up about their emotions because a lot of older people these days, even their parents, claim mental health is not real.
Thank you, Marie. Thank you, Maria. Those were some very important insights. And, so how the teen survey came about in 2015, Vox ATL, we developed a regional strengths-based survey to fill an information gap. And that's basically to help adults who work with teens and youth learn more about teens from their own perspectives. And so we asked things like, where do you feel most valued? What types of communication channels are you using? Things of that nature. How do you feel about mental health? And then in 2021, we expanded the survey at the request of partners and funders like DBHDD, Department of Behavioral Health and Developmental Disabilities, to include the entire state and ask questions about after school, overall well-being, health and well-being for teens, and also communications. And so last year in 2023, we were also, Maria mentioned, we collected information and insights from focus groups as a part of the Free Your Feels campaign, as well as the Morehouse School of Medicine's Black Youth Mental Health Project that they have. And so today we're actually going to share some insights through a Family Feud style game that the teens created, because we asked the teens, how should we reveal this data? And this is something that they came up with. So I'm going to pass it back to Chiron to give us a little bit of more information, and I'll stop sharing my screen for a second to switch over.
Chiron, I think you may be muted again.
Oh, I was going to say, before you change the screen, give folks the chance to go ahead and scan that QR code so that they can get into the loading room for the Mentimeter, because that is where our Family Feud quiz will be taking place.
Thank you. I will pull that back.
No problem. I will also see if I can drop a link to it, if possible.
Yeah, we have a link in the chat, so y'all can play on your browser, or I think Chiron found out that it might be a little more user-friendly to play on your phone. So if you want to scan the QR code and play mobily.
Yep. Sweet. So like Sharon said, this the way that the teen survey information is presented was created by teens, and the initial information debut was super fun and was very creative. We actually had teens dress up as like Steve Harvey and other Family Feud hosts. It was really spectacular to see. And so this is the answers from this are based on over 400 teens from the metro Atlanta area. And it is all about how teens spend their time versus or how they would like to, how they get their information, how they communicate, all the ways that they interact on social media, which social medias they're on the most. And, all about mental health, how they feel comfortable, access to care. Yeah. So let us know if you are all good to go ahead and play the Mentimeter. We'll open when we're in the session.
I think we have about 15 people who have joined, and so I can go ahead and get us ready. If you need more time, Maria, if you don't mind dropping the link just again, so everybody can access. Take it away, Carmen.
Awesome. So again, this is a strength-based survey that is used to fill the information void around what teens like to do in their out-of-school time, how they like to communicate, how they receive information, and their opinions about mental health, stress, and stigma, and the access to care for mental health. The demographics that we got this from are over 400 youth in the metro Atlanta area, and they are ranging between ages 11 to 25. So our very first question is, what do teens say helps them feel valued? Or it was phrased as, I feel valued when. Amazing. We'll take 2 more seconds for answers. Amazing. And let's see. Oh my God, look at all of you guys. A little flustered. You press enter. Okay. The results though?
Yeah, I think so. The results for that first one was when I can help others.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was the answer to the very first question.
Yeah.
So what do Georgia teens say caused them the most stress in 2023? Ooh, and there's the answer. My mental health. How do teens say they like to relieve stress? So this is a question that I know has been on the teen survey for quite a while, and I know that the answers from 2020 to now have varied so differently. So honestly, if you want a little hint, I would say think about that kind of difference. A lot of y'all said, I can't read that. That's real tiny over here for me. But the answer is
yeah. A lot of people said talking with peers. And yes, the answer is consumer media.
Oh, I love that Ronald is also a burger.
Okay, so BB is leading with the leaderboard.
Yeah.
Keep it up. Keep it up. Okay, we'll go to the next slide.
What keeps teens from accessing mental health care? Ooh. What was that most answered one, Sharon?
The most answer said, I don't feel okay asking for help. But the answer is actually cost.
Yes. So a lot of teens do feel okay asking for help, but it is a monetary issue, like in receiving help or having access to healthcare that will provide like a decent copay for receiving mental health care. What do teens say are their top interests or concerns today? Haley, I see you in the chat. What grant would that be? That is really interesting. I'm sure other people would love to know.
Yeah. So the top answer, it says social justice, followed by social media and games. And the correct answer is actually life after high school.
Which social media platforms do teens use the most daily? So Facebook, Instagram, Slack, TikTok, and YouTube.
All right, you should have some hints from our previous slides. Awesome. Everybody got it correct. Oh, well, except for one. Somebody said Slack, which is
Answer slide. That's really funny.
So TikTok and Instagram are the top two social media platforms that teens use the most daily. All right, next question.
Thank you for your answer, Haley. Where do teens say they got information about mental health? And so it's tiny. Ooh.
Wow. So everyone said either it just pops up on my social media feed or I look it up online myself. And the answer is actually my family. Wow. Very interesting to dig into. All right. So the winner is Agent X9. Congratulations for bragging rights.
Thank you guys all so much for playing and participating.
I'll stop. I'll get back up to the screen.
And really quickly, while we're getting back to the slides, I'll say that we'll put the full teen survey link in the chat so that you can see. It's really comprehensive, and it, as Chiron was mentioning and Sharon, it's strengths based, and it provides really good insight into where teens are today. And mental health is just a piece of the survey, so there are other questions as well that you may find helpful. So we'll make sure to drop that link in the chat.
Yeah, I think so. The idea, just for everybody's awareness, we all Vox is doing the 2024 Vox Teen Survey. It should be launched by the end of May. So we are going to the great thing about this data is that we are able to frequently ask teens in our communities how things have changed, and this is actually our 10th year doing the Vox Teen Survey. Basically giving us an opportunity to go back and look at how the data has changed over the years. And so this year we'll have a little bit more insights to see if there have been any significant increases in certain areas. Oh, wow. Avery Floyd, it was the winner, which is not a little, it's not fair. He is our new program director. So thanks, Avery. But yeah, so the great thing about this year's survey is that we'll be able to kind of dig into some insights a little bit and learn about how things have changed over the years. So I'll pass it back to Carmen.
Amazing. So if you guys have any questions, please feel free to drop them in the chat or in the Q&A section. I did see the one question in the Q&A section is there a way for us to do this Family Feud survey with the parents of the youth we serve? Maria mentioned that we will provide the actual answers to the teen survey. And so we used a program called Mentimeter. It is free to create the Menti slides and information. So if you would like to, you can use that information and create your own version of a quiz or a test and organize it for the parents in your community based on the information that is in this survey. Yeah. And that is the only question we have so far. I hope I did not just skip something.
Are there any more questions?
And we love seeing in the chat the great reception and wanting to bring something like this or the Free Your Feels campaign back to your state or your community. So feel free, connect with us. We are more than happy to share our insights and resources. I'm also dropping our Free Your Feels website link in the chat here. It's been a really great collaboration between private and public partnerships and connecting people to some really amazing resources that already exist in the state and having young people drive it all. So we've learned a lot and we're continuing to learn and improve it. And we can't wait to see where the campaign goes from here.
Thanks, Maria. Yes, and please stay connected with Vox ATL as well. All of our channels, you can find us at Vox ATL, except on Twitter, it's Vox Rocks, VOXROX ATL. And the great thing about involving youth from the beginning is that some of these innovative ways to share some of the data points, it comes from directly from the youth. It keeps people engaged, and as an adult, you may not be able to come up with those ideas on your own. And sometimes it's best to just ask the teens what it is that they'd like to see and how they would stay engaged. Also, we have more resources that you can you all hear me, Maria? Okay. Sorry, it just got dead silent. So we have more resources as well. And I'll pass it to Chiron if you want to talk a little bit about that. And Maria.
Yes. So one of the resources that we have is the Vox's self-expression toolbox. So it is our social emotional learning toolbox that I created. I helped create that. Super fun to make, and it's also we've gotten a lot of positive feedback from adults that have used it in different programs where we presented it, and from teens that have gotten the chance to use it. And over here in the Q&A, how do you get the youth to participate in the programming? So getting youth to participate in programming, it is centered around them. So making sure that every step of the way they are involved in it definitely increases the chance that they participate. So like I said at the beginning, one of the lowest stakes ways that we get youth to participate and engage in creating programming is from the creation of like a go around question with intentionality or ground rules. We also keep a lot of engaging games in programming, making sure that these are games that they would like to play, making sure that we're bringing that up. We do also have a lot of youth led and adult guide on the side, because we're guiding from the side. And there's more youth that are more so in the front and center. So when people can see themselves in that way, they're more likely to show up. And I hope that answers your question.
Also, I see here some more questions underneath. It says, are you using social media to connect and market? Yeah, so we actually do leverage social media to connect. We at Vox, we have teen content, teen generated content that is promoted on our social media as well. As our platform, we are sharing stories that matter most to teens using journalism and just self-expression. And so teens are able to engage and learn more about mental health through reading stories of lived experiences and getting tips and tricks from other teens in their communities. We partner with other nonprofits within our service area to reach more teens that may not have the ability or the capacity to participate in a full-blown after-school program. And through partnership, we're able to connect with those other communities that we might not otherwise. And most recently, a recent example of that was this past May 4th, we actually partnered with the Freer Fields campaign to host a signature event of ours called Boxapalooza. But we were able to bring mental health resources, other partners to the table to amplify some of the work that the Freer Fields campaign is doing, and also connect with teens who are already engaging in our program as well.
Awesome. Thank you, Sharon. So another question that is here is, how does the ground rules part of a session work? Do you start with the ones you listed in the teens add on each session, or is it a blank slate each session? So we approach ground rules pretty differently each time depending on the group. So we do start with a blank slate every time it is a brand new group. So say if this is like a group of teens, say if this is the teen interns and it's at the very beginning of their intern session, they create ground rules that are specific to them. We do start with a blank slate, but of course, when you are facilitating, it is a best practice to model and give an example of a ground rule that you yourself as a facilitator could foresee you needing in the group. And then ground rules for less frequent groups that meet. We do start with a blank slate, and there are a few staples that we like to add on there that feel conducive to the meeting that we are trying to have. So maybe if we're expecting a lot of people, we'll model and start with the one mic rule, which just ensures that if someone is speaking, we are also listening, not just that everyone is quiet. So we try to engage active listening. And I hope that I have answered your question effectively.
Yeah, and I just want to add on to that. If you look on the screen, you'll see some photos of like actual ground rules. And if you come into our offices at Vox, you'll see these are posted all along the walls. And so teams are able to look on the walls and get inspiration and kind of have an example to see, oh, this is not something that's just being done here today. Like this is a practice at Vox, and it's safe for me to add my own twist to the ground rules. So I think that helps as well.
Another question is, curious if there have been effective ways that focus group informations have been confirmed/verified with youth participants in a way that they choose.
Maria, maybe you want to take this one?
If I could get off of mute, yes. Sorry for the delay. Yes, so the really good thing about youth involvement, especially with partnering with Vox ATL, is that the young people, once they are part of that family and engaged in that project, they really want to stay on board in whatever capacity they can. So for example, with the Free Your Fills focus groups, we got information about, okay, where are you on social media and how can we improve our messaging? We've then been trying to implement that and then gathering feedback from the teams who have remained in Vox programming or remained with the Free Your Fills campaign in some capacity to ask them, is this working? Is this resonating with you? Is this getting at what you were telling us in the focus groups or what we were hearing, what we learned from those focus groups? So it's a constant process of improving and gaining feedback and making sure that the material and the ways that we are distributing those materials are reaching them. And I did want to mention too, I wanted to mention too that someone asked in the chat if we partner with schools. And so Vox ATL can talk more about their participation. They're actually an after school program and they work a lot with local school systems. Free Your Fills, we offer prevention and awareness support depending on what the schools need. So a large portion of that is providing posters and different resources that schools can put in their hallways or in their newsletters to parents and students. But another way too is we're currently piloting a peer-to-peer program at a local middle school. So something that we learned from the focus groups is that peer-to-peer engagement and connection is very important and it works. So we're piloting that program with middle schools and we hope to replicate and expand it as we grow. So that's another way that we're using those focus group results to impact young people.
Yes, and I just add about the how we partner with schools. And so I mentioned earlier how not everyone has the capacity or the ability to participate in an after school program where they're coming to us. And so one thing that we've recognized as an area of success is that when we bring our program model to the schools, teams are able to engage and participate. And so we do try to find ways to partner as much as possible, whether it's us bringing in a media education workshop or a mental health, how to free your feels workshop to the school systems, or if it's tabling at an event and providing some self-expression opportunities and creating content and releasing that on our platform. So that's one way we partner with schools. And we hope to continue to strengthen our relationships with schools from now on as well. Thanks for that question. those are all the questions we have currently. Are you seeing any more?
Awesome. I'm going to drop a link to our end of session survey in the chat for anyone that is still around and would love to answer it. It is a 1-question survey, and it is also on Mentimeter using their cloud feature. Oops.
Thank you so much. While Chiron is putting that in the chat, we love quick, short, concise questions and surveys. So it's just one question, as Chiron mentioned. But we just wanted to thank y'all for being part of this, for asking really great questions, and staying engaged with us the whole time. And again, please reach out to us. We're happy to help in any way, provide resources, or just be thought partners and brainstorm partners with you all, because the more young people we can involve and reach, that's the goal. And put the Menti in the chat.
Well, just one more round of virtual applause for y'all. Thank you so much for sharing all of that. And I think it was a really good time, and I think just like one more way that data becomes approachable, which I think is just so important. And thank you to the audience for being here and being engaged. Thank you all for, whether you have attended or presented, being part of Intact System of Care Summit this year. It is not quite over yet. I know at the top of the hour, we're going to have another little break, and then there will be a closing keynote, and we'll do awards for System of Care champions, which is a really exciting way to celebrate people that have been nominated from across the nation that have been working in system of care work and been doing incredible things. So stick around for that. And otherwise, we'll see you all next year.
Thanks, everyone. This has been great.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll keep the session open till the top of the hour, and we can watch this populate.